What's going on, man?
Man, not a whole heck of a lot. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing good.
Here, man.
I'd get 2 seconds in before I talk about it being time for Santa Claus.
Oh, my God. We were talking about it off before we got started, man. My brother stumbled upon that clip a ways back, and we have just howled about it ever since. So when you mentioned it before the show, I'm like, just dying.
Know it's coming.
Dude, it's the weirdest thing. I was saying earlier that the first time I saw it, it's just funny because it's Kate McKinnon doing Shakira. I had no idea what she was going to say, and then when she said it, it was not what I was expecting. Now that I've seen it 1,000 times, and I do know what she's going to say, I still fall off the sofa every time because it's funny as crap, man.
I got reminded of that from the weird Saturday Night Live episode this past week. It was another COVID doing its thing kind of episode where I guess it was kind of a shocking reminder just how much of that show is recorded now.
Oh yeah,
they still had several things that they had recorded, I think that day or the day before, that they were able to run, but it was pretty much a clip show of Christmas past, which there was some stuff I'd never seen before and some good reminders of stuff I saw a long time ago and thought was hilarious. So it was still an interesting one.
Yeah,
to
man.
check out.
I didn't watch it, but it does sound kind of like it's weird. You can always get that weird vibe off certain ones, like, oh man, like if something's up. Pardon me. But it's cool, yeah, man. You do just a Christmas clip show for SNL. There's lots of good stuff you can throw on there. So you're right, it's totally okay.
Oh man, that's probably what they'll do this week too. Anyway, if it's not a rerun, but I wouldn't have any problem with that. Have some, but still a bunch of Christmas stuff that didn't get shown.
It could be time for Santa Claus again.
Yeah, man.
just run that again. That's fine with me.
Man, it was still interesting and neat that you knew something was up when Paul Rudd's hosting, and there's like this recorded thing at the beginning where he's kind of explaining like this is what happened. We're not going to say who got what or didn't, but we thought, hey man, it's just not safe for an audience to be here. So I think Kenan Thompson and Michael Che were the only members from the cast that were there. And so, of course, Michael Che had jokes about, you see why we're the only ones here. So, then Tina Fey is there and Tom Hanks is there because his joke was, I'm not going to fly 3,000 miles and not be on TV.
Dude, come on. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Whatever. Screw you, Lauren.
Seriously.
But nonetheless, it was, but that was what it kind of left me with is like, I know the show is Saturday Night Live, but there's a lot of it that's recorded, and they still had several things they were able to run. So I was like, well,
it was something.
There was some new stuff.
It's one of my frustrations with the digital short era. I mean, I get it. I understand. I get it, but it's just like, it's just not the same. And I shouldn't even say it that way because anymore, all the live stuff, people just, screw it up by intentionally breaking, and that's not fun. I mean, anytime you get like real breakage, that's still fun. But it seems to me you can always tell when that stuff is real and when it's not. And when it's not, it's just annoying. So if you're going to do that, just, I guess I'm picking on Pete again, but it's because I think he's a fraud. But if Pete Davidson's just going to laugh his own jokes to try to get people to giggle along, just do Trees, because he was awesome in Trees, because that was, that was pre-recorded, so it was fun.
If that's your workaround, then fine, do it.
Go ahead. Yeah, he did totally good work in Trees, man. It was Trees and Abraham Parnassus, which again, Abraham Parnassus, there's absolutely no trouble at all with him laughing at that because everyone did. I mean, it's anytime the entire cast breaks it, even Fallon gets away with it. Then, man, it's like, no, you go ahead, dude. That's okay.
That's understandable. This is
totally.
Like, this is a piece of history.
Yeah, man, Abraham Parnassus, I couldn't have got through that. Come on, he lasted longer than I would have. Man, seriously, he was laughing like seconds into it. And he still did better than I would have.
Yeah, man, it was one of those old one of the anniversary shows or some show where there were guys talking heads sit down and talk about Saturday Night Live, and it was one of the things that I think it was Dick Ebersol at the time. This was like 80, 3 or 4, or whenever it was, when they wanted him to take over the show. He's like, I'll stay, but there's 2 things that have to change. It's got to be taped, and it's got to be in Los Angeles. And they're like, they scoff like, well, but it's called Saturday Night Live. How can we not have it live? It's like, well, you're not doing much of it now, so maybe he was ahead of his time.
He knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, just tape it. Why is that so hard?
Why would we not tape it? What the hell, guys? Come on.
That's I think we'd be bold.
I say we'd be bold. Saturday Night Live. Be dead.
Yes. It's just the name.
Yes, it is. It's one word. It's meaningless. We tape it. We air it on Thursdays. We go on Saturday Night Live. How long?
We're ahead of ourselves.
For real.
The CBS Sunday morning news on Saturday night.
Why would we not do that? We need that Saturday at 11:30 slot for the Sunday news.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning news.
By God, we'll get ahead of them on the news.
No, I'm here to tell you something. I run this network for a reason. I'm Dick Eversole.
What?
I'm legally changing my name to Dick ABC Persol. All of you follow me. I am your leader now.
Come, follow me to freedom.
Oh my God. Bottle of bourbon. Steady hand of Charlie Steiner. Advantage Bristol. That's one of my favorite things ever, man. Advantage Bristol.
Man, my other show that I've just been wearing out, and I don't think I've been able to talk the past 2 episodes of Hawkeye, still laying it down.
Sweet, man.
I want to say they're up to episode 5, and episode 4 was kind of a let you up, let's take a break from all this craziness episode. We have Elana, Natasha's sister, shows up at the end, and episode 5 they pick up, and especially after watching episode 5 of Hawkeye and going to see the new Spiderman movie, I mean, the cat's out of the bag with all the Netflix stuff. I mean, we've been hitting at it. Now we're straight up telling you it's happening. So it was good stuff to see all around. So I was thrilled with that, because at the end of episode 5 of Hawkeye, you kind of see the photo come across Kate Bishop's phone, and it's Clint saying, "This is the guy I've been worried about this whole time," and he actually says the name. This is Kingpin, and she shows the phone, and it's Vincent D'Onofrio hanging out with Kate's mom, like, "Hey." He's kind of get that look on Hawkeye's face, like, "Oh shit." And then, I won't. It's hard. It's hardly a spoiler, but there's a lot of cameos in the new Spider-Man movie, and there's a pretty big one when a lawyer shows up to talk with Pete. So I think you can pretty much figure out who it is. So
we're about to kick off. We're about to kick off the new lawyer show on Disney Plus, and I want some crossover with Murdoch and Foggy, and so I'm good with all that. That stuff is cool. And also, this is really cruddy, but I'll say it. And T'Challa ended Hawkeye in that one scene. Why is that making the rounds again? I'm like, how did this get resurrected when Hawkeye has his own TV show? That's ridiculous, because Hawkeye's cool, whatever. But I am glad that all of the Netflix stuff sucked. It was awful. The Netflix Disney stuff was bad. It wasn't any good anyway. I'm glad that's finally gone away, because it wasn't bad. Some of it was. Some of it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And it's certainly not so bad that you shouldn't incorporate it into what you're doing now. So it's cool. I love the idea of Charlie showing back up to be Matt and hanging out with Peter, and all that stuff all that's cool. I like all of that. And a lot of the stuff from the Netflix stuff and the casting was real cool. Some of it wasn't, but a lot of it was. And we talked about it, man. D'Onofrio was Kingpin. Oh, I'm so glad they're bringing him back, because he's so awesome. That's just excellent all the way around, man.
Heck yeah, man! It's uh, a lot of good stuff to come. Is what we got to look forward to.
Yeah, I think so too, man, and that's quite exciting. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Pardon me.
That was pretty much uh, going to see the Spider-Man No Way Home movie was one thing I did this past weekend, and uh, I was nervous about it because I was like, oh God, how packed is this theater going to be? And luckily, it wasn't too bad. I went out on a Saturday evening, not a late show, but getting towards the evening, and it was packed, but it wasn't too bad. So I was like, good, don't have to be too worried about some of these people in here. But man, for a guy that you know, Spider-Man's never been like my number one kind of character. It's still fun, and it's still a good one to go check out. Uh, but for the most part, to me, it's fun to see all the other characters from the other movies come together. But I just got so sick of the turn into Andrew Garfield. It's felt like it was just every joke was like, "Oh, your movies weren't really that bad," but we all know that's a lie because they were. They were not good. and that he just and for this notion that one of the notions that's been rumors that's been popping up ever since No Way Home. It's like we're going to get a third Amazing Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield. It's like, well, you could put that in the category with the Venom movies because those I have no interest in seeing. If that's what they're going to be doing, then I can skip that.
Everybody all of a sudden now thinks there's an online petition. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, guys. There's an online petition. Online petition. DC does that fill in the blank cut. They build that crap into their marketing when they first get going. Marvel does not. I know you got your petition for Andrew Garfield, and that's wonderful. You might get your movie, but you probably won't. So just settle down. The thing about the Andrew Garfield movies is I think I saw the first one, and it was okay. I couldn't tell you if I saw the second one or not. I don't think I did, but I don't know. So one way or the other, it just tells you. It just doesn't matter, man. None of that stuff matters. It's cool. I'm with you. I do love the crossover, and I like the multiples. But as far as Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, no Tom, they're all going to get wiped out anyway. Because as soon as Miles Morales is not a cartoon anymore, that's it. That's Spider-Man. He's the guy, and I'm cool with that because again, we talked about it, man. That's the thing with. Did you see Danhausen open the Marvel Legends? It's like it's listed as Spider-Man Can't Get Home, which is just way fun and hilarious. So now I can't not call it Spider-Man Can't Get Home.
Yeah.
But you've just made a live action. I shouldn't say it this way, but it feels like you've just made a live action version of Into the Spider-Verse, which is totally
That's what
okay.
they were going for.
It's totally okay. It's a great thing to do because Spider-Verse was so awesome, and it's because the fascinating thing about Spider-Verse is it's like a head-on collision of lots of things that we talk about that's real cool about this stuff. One, you're doing it animated, so you ain't got to worry about the budget. Mm-hmm. Two, it's not Peter, so you can do interesting things with Spider-Man, which is one of the characters that everybody knows is basically being able to make a movie version of like an Elseworlds book. Because if you tried to make an Elseworlds Superman movie, people would shit their pants. But you can do the book. You can take that book and just make it whatever you want it to be. You can make it All-Star Superman where he freaking dies. Because it doesn't have to tie into anything else. So with doing Miles, doing it animated, and I mean, it's so cool because it's such a well-known character, but it gives you the freedom to do Guardians of the Galaxy. It was an awesome idea. And then, the thing that I thought was so incredible about Spider-Verse is that with all of the things we just mentioned, there's so much positive going into it, and you've got so much potential. And then even expectation-wise for me, they blew that sucker out of the water. It was like you could do anything, and then what they decided to do was so much better than I could have even imagined. It's incredible. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is exactly what you already said. If you're trying to do a live-action version of Spider-Verse, good for you, man. That's an excellent idea.
And they to me, they tied everything in about as well as you could. Now,
I think that's cool, man.
It all starts off with Peter effing everything up again, which is, I think that you talk about T'Challa, wasting Clint in one line. I think they're really trying to get some of that heat off Star-Lord. Like, no, he's not that dumb. Pete's really dumb.
Yeah, Peter Parker's the idiot.
Yeah, he is dumb and keeps getting dumber. Doesn't seem to be learning anything.
Seriously. Tony Stark is dead, and he's still over here doing this.
He still ain't learned a frickin' thing.
Real man, Uncle Ben, Tony Stark, this idiot never learns.
God. So, but I like the tie-ins of Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe, and Thomas Hayden Church is back.
That's good.
Jamie Foxx and the guy that played the lizard, whatever his name is. so they're all there, and it's done in a smart enough way. But of course, and it's surprising just how quick to that they get. It's fairly early on in the movie, and we're not wasting any time. We're getting to this, and that's when you think they're not going to wrap this up this early. No, wait, Peter's going to f it up, and sure enough, he does, which is his lot, and makes a bad situation even worse. And I guess another problem that I had with it is just kind of how they kind of shit all over Doctor Strange's training, and that he had to go through in his movie, when basically Pete's friend in the Spider-Man movies that's not MJ, his fat friend Ned, whatever his name is, basically gets Doctor Strange's little ring and can basically cast portals instantly. Like, he didn't even have to try at all. I mean, just totally blew Ray from Force Awakens out of the water. He's picked the shit up. Well, I can do this. It's like, y'all really couldn't get him a little bit of a training montage. For real. So that was the one part. It was kind of like, come on, guys. But it's a very forgivable thing, because I mean, it's him opening up all this stuff is how we get the other Spider-Mans in, and it's having Tobey Maguire come back and play the characters. It was fun, because I remember loving those movies so much. At least the first two, when they were out.
The second one is still on short list. The second Spider-Man is like Batman Returns, man. Those still hold up. I love those, man. And the third one, I'm with you. 3's not great, but Thomas Hayden Church is worth it. Thomas Hayden Church, and this is nowhere near. This isn't a good parallel, but he's so cool in Spider-Man 3. It's kind of like Mark Strong and Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern is way worse than Spider-Man 3, but it's nice to have that one thing that's so cool.
It was Spider-Man 3, the Toby verse. Yeah. It really felt like they kind of, I think Sam thought he had more time. And they were like, well, no, you've got to wrap this up, and you're not getting another chance. Like, what? It's not what I had planned at all. That's one reason why kind of halfway through Spider-Man 3, Sandman just kind of forgotten about. You got to go Batman Forever on that ass, and throw in all these other bad guys that nobody even cares about. And but I think for the most part, there's a lot of you get redemption for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and Toby shows up, and he's still for 40, 50-year-old Spider-Man still looks pretty good, and Willem Dafoe is still that badass, cool character that he's like, you never trust this guy. Why does anybody ever trust this guy?
Seriously, man. How has Willem Dafoe ever gotten a bank loan in his life, man? I don't understand.
So, man, I just dug the crap out of it.
Awesome,
and I do believe I may be proven to be wrong, but it's happened once or twice. I really think one of the things in this movie is the they may go back and find a way around this, but I feel like they're kind of telling you in this. Now, this is all you're getting from these characters, whether it's the Andrew Garfield version or the Tobey Maguire version. They're done. I hope that there's a scene, in credit scene. I hope they're telling us that we're not getting Venom either. At least not the Tom Hardy Venom. And they don't come out and say that, but it's implied to me that that's what they were saying. And I may be wrong with that, but if anything, I think that's the rumor, that if that happens, then that would be the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. But I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah, it's fine. But anything they're doing that's not Avengers adjacent, I don't care, man. It's cool. If enough people want the Andrew movie, have fun. Hope you like it. But I'm check it out.
Have at it. Pretty much any DC movie you name past Wonder Woman is not my cup of tea. If it has Venom or Deadpool in it, not my cup of tea. I haven't seen any of those. Don't care to. If you're gonna continue on with another Spider-Man trilogy or whatever you're gonna do, then have at it. I enjoyed this one. I feel like I've got my fill.
Yeah, I'm caught up. I'm good.
Yeah, man. I'm done. And the end credit scene, it's pretty much not a scene. It's pretty much just a trailer for Doctor Strange and his sequel. So I'm like, that got me excited for that. I don't know if it's the next one coming, but it's pretty close.
As far as all the Marvel stuff in the shoot, pretty much Hawkeye, I'm going to enjoy Hawkeye. I'm looking forward to that. But I mean, just like TV, movies, all the stuff that's like in the chamber, dude, Multiverse of Madness is all I care about. That's it. I just, starting with, as you know, starting with Age of Ultron, where we're going with Wanda is all I care about. That's it. And so it's like anything we're doing that's going to advance her storyline, that's what I want to see. So when you see Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, right on, man. Or not even multiverse, but WandaVision and then multiverse. I'm like, let's do this. That's exciting crap, man. But we talked about it, man. That's the coolest thing about Doctor Strange being put into the whole MCU is like, the stories you can tell with the magic stuff, that's incredible, man. That's awesome. And also, it does give you that Guardians thing where there's tons of people that love Doctor Strange, man, but it's not quite as hard and fast as Tony Stark has to be like this, and Steve Rogers has to be like this. I mean, Cap's my main guy, and we're all just too rigid to have any fun with it. So Doctor Strange, the character, has got a huge fan base, but not that big of a fan base, and they're more open-minded and willing to see just a cool story. So, man, the places you can go within like the magic context is awesome. So I'm very excited about that. I'm wondering though, you taking the over under on Doctor Strange surviving? Because I don't think you will. I think this is the movie where Wanda takes over as the lead villain. It's not. I mean, again, I don't think her number one function as lead villain is to introduce Magneto into the universe. That's later. But just Wanda being the one, I can't wait, dude. I'm so excited.
Man, that's definitely on the card, on the table anyway. A high possibility.
I think so too, man. I'm excited. I hope that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I definitely could see her being the bad guy. I would think Doctor Strange would still be around, but that would what better way to show how bad she's going to be than to off a character like that. So
yeah, we'll see, man. I'm with you. I'm looking forward to it, dude. But then again, that was always my thing with the Guardians. Is I thought if Thanos showed up and murdered the Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of their own movie, that would be a very cool way to put him over. Turns out they didn't have to do that, but you can that's still a cool idea. It's still a good one.
Still think it could work.
Yeah, dude.
Make it happen.
That's still how you get them over. You smash somebody over.
Wipe them all out.
I'll beat everybody.
Yeah.
Wanda goes Bob Holly on them.
Yep. And what then? I beat everybody.
You pay the bill. Okay, Bob. Did. I beat everybody. Okay.
They don't get it. They just don't get it.
Can't believe you're even asking me this. Go.
That's where I was at. Was you have everything that unfolds in this movie, and it's kind of like, okay, fine. So there's all types of logic that you could kind of poke holes at. Like, did it really have to be that at the end? But fine, whatever. It's over and done with. It's cool. But then you have the little mid-credit scene, I guess you could call it, with you have the hinting of and apparently there was an end credit scene at the end of the last Venom movie. I wouldn't have known. I didn't see it. Where they pretty much told you then that there was going to be a version of the Tom Hardy Venom coming, and then the post credit scene that this was another Tom Hardy there and had his Venom thing going on behind him, and he kind of phases out back to his own universe the way everybody else did at the end of the movie. Scott, that's what, to me, I took it as, okay, they're telling us that's not going to happen, but then there's a little piece of Venom sludge that gets left in this universe. You're kind of like, oh crap, here it is. But I would be satisfied if that's all we ever get of it. So
Cool.
that was the second I saw that scene pop up, I was already rolling my eyes like, oh god. I just never, and it's for some reason that's just one of those characters I've just never had the awe and love that some people have for Venom. I just don't get it.
Yeah, Venom is a two-dimensional character. I mean, literally, like, there are really cool drawings of him that exist, but that's it. It's just cool looking. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. But that happens to me with a lot. That happens to me a lot with just villains. There just aren't a ton of villains that I think are interesting. I love Zemo, and I mean like book Zemo, movie Zemo. And it's not, movie Zemo is not like book Zemo, but book Zemo is very, very interesting, and movie Zemo is very interesting. So it's like we talked about, man. The whole point is not them doing exactly what they do in the books, but it being believable. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Or in the case of Baron Zemo, like, God, what an interesting way to do that. So I like Baron Zemo, and I've always really, really liked Kang. I know it's easy to say that now because here comes a Kang, but never been a Joker guy, never been a Venom guy, never been a Carnage guy. Doctor Doom is quite interesting. He's up and down because he's like such a bad guy. But Doctor Doom's cool. Kingpin is cool. Magneto's cool, but he ain't a bad guy, so that one he really doesn't count. Man, who else? I'm trying to think of other like huge super comic baddies, and I'm overall I'm with you. Venom looks great. There are drawings of him that look incredible, but it's like, yeah, I don't need any more.
And I think it goes back to kind of like what you're talking about earlier. Is like, man, when it was the Spider-Man animated show, sure, I like some Venom in that, but it works better, and I think it's cooler looking animated as opposed to what they've done in these movies. That just looks like, when it looks cool in a book and it looks cool animated, the stuff that I've seen them do live action just looks like ass.
Just doesn't work. I can dig that, man. There's some stuff that just does not translate. I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, brother.
Oh, dude. But I think that there was a lot of good resolution and wrap up for both the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spidermans that I think was just enough, man. I don't think I need any more.
That's cool, man. I'm hoping they got big enough checks to where it's like nice send off. They get their balloon payment on the way out, because surely to God, we're not looking to do another Tobey Maguire trilogy. I can't imagine anyone's clamoring for that.
I seriously doubt that. It's too much. It's too much. It's too
Maybe
fancy.
Maybe he can be the live action mid-40s Peter that sets Miles on his way. We need one of those for it, so that would work.
There's a line in there that pretty much insinuates that that's coming.
Oh, okay.
So now not necessarily that it's going to be Toby that does it, but that somebody says, man, all these Spider-Man, there's got to be a black one somewhere. It's like, yeah, that basically told you, like, yeah, we're doing it.
Well, that's been
Get ready.
Tom's thing. Tom always, it's his little reputation. Is, oh man, Tom Holland's always giving away spoilers when he does interviews. And it's like, yeah, because they tell him to. If Tom Holland was really out there ruining anything, his NDA would have all of his money. He wouldn't have anything.
Yeah.
So no, that's his role. But he's publicly said, man, I just can't wait till we hand it all over to Miles. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm glad to know that's coming because
it's got to be.
It's a cool character. And also, it allows you to go in totally different directions with the costume, which sounds stupid, but hey, man, Miles Morales' costume is awesome. So, yeah, that'll be neat to see the movie version of that.
Heck yeah, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
so I like the way everything was wrapped up in this one. Just fine.
Very cool, man.
And I guess, man, the other cool thing that happened recently was did you happen to see the main event this past Wednesday? The AEW. You watched that bowl match?
I have seen the highlights of it. I
call it the main event. It was the opening. It was the opener.
It was the show pretty much.
Yeah.
I've watched highlights of it. I haven't turned my cable back on yet, but it's all like the AEW's YouTube is pretty impressive. So I'm like, yeah, we'll check this out. That'll be cool, man. So I'm glad. I like the decision. I think it's cool. I don't know why people bitch and whine. So it's just funny, man. We want it to be like a real sport. Yeah, except when there's a tie.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think was going to happen? What did you want to have happen? Because if you have Bryan Danielson beat Hangman Page, that kills his character. What are you going to do with him then? You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. I said the exact same thing about Adam Cole. I said Adam Cole should take the belt off of Hangman Page immediately and let him climb back up. How are you going to do that with Bryan Danielson? This is the thing that I hope people will just take a deep breath and realize. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, they are in the Moxley camp. If you throw the belt on these temporary guys, you better have a hell of a good idea of how to get it off of them. And it's just like, the Moxley thing absolutely fell apart because he didn't want to lose to anybody. So you have to make Kenny Omega a fucking punchline, but at least Kenny got the title and we've moved on. But no, I didn't quite understand that you got to make Bryan Danielson the champion. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand that at all, man. But I'm glad they had such a good match. I'm glad they didn't kill each other. That's nice. It was cool.
When I was watching the match and I saw how much it was building at the end, when it came to a draw, I was kind of my letdown was as good as Page looked at the end. I was like, man, he should have pinned him. But then the world kept on turning, and everything was fine. Stuff didn't end. I was like, oh, obviously they've got an idea. So at first I was kind of like, oh, but I think it's going to be cool.
I think Danielson's got that Handsome Boy Championship Wrestling contract that Moxley had, where he ain't losing for a year. I mean, it just does. When you have that contract and you can sign that, I think that's a little sad. But if that's what you want, that's what you get. So the whole thing is you got to find a way out of it to where Hangman doesn't lose, because Danielson's not going to lose to anybody. Danielson's not going to put MJF over. That's what Punk is doing. So it's just funny that, oh man, he's such a jerk. He took his ball and he went home and he's a quitter. Yeah, but he's going to be the one that puts your precious hero MJF over. Danielson wouldn't do it. Danielson won't do it. So it's all like, whatever, man. Again, Danielson told you that when he did the, well, Punk could come in here and be friends. I'm going to kick their heads in. And it's all like, yeah, because you got a piece of paper that says you get to do that. It's like, come on, man. You are not a tough guy. It's pro wrestling. We understand it's a show. You got to be kidding me, man. But then people, got all hard over shit like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe obviously he's done the job for a while. And if he knows what to say to get the people behind him, clearly he does. But that junk is whatever, man. But anyway, my main thing with AEW, the only thing that I care about, AEW adjacent, is freaking FTR showing up at Final Battle.
Hell yeah.
That's all I care about.
Cool stuff.
I was like, man, and it was weird because I was so close to buying that pay-per-view. And then I saw the post, and I'm like, no, I don't need to, because this is what I wanted to see. And then Ring of Honor put the clip up the next day, and I'm like, I am so stoked. But I will say this. Have you seen that clip?
I haven't yet. I've heard about it. I haven't seen.
When you watch it, do me a favor, because I know everyone loves talking about vanilla midgets, and they're all so little, and Adam Cole's little, and they're all little. The fucking Briscoes tower over FTR. I was not expecting that. And I'm like, well, now I know why they didn't get jobs in NXT. Is if you put fucking Tommaso Ciampa out there and he comes up to Jay Briscoe's belly button, you'd have a problem, because y'all tried to present Tommaso like he's the baddest of the badasses, but that shit wouldn't work. I couldn't believe it. FTR are not tiny guys, but boy, they look like it in there. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah,
I never thought of Jay and Mark Briscoe as Redwoods, but they look huge, man. Like, dang.
Yeah.
But I am so ecstatic about any of that crossover tie-in stuff. I can't wait, man. Holy crap.
That's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
And that was my other thing about once I found out. It's like, okay, don't buy Final Battle. Put that money. It's only like $25. It's not a big deal, but put that towards whatever pay-per-view those guys are going to wrestle on, because you would definitely want to see that. So that's what I'm going to do.
That's probably coming sooner than later.
I would think so, because the whole deal is the Briscoes in AEW is, I mean, that, of course, that is my mountaintop match. But the tag division is so good, man. Them versus the Luchas, them versus Santana and Ortiz. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Man, all of that sounds so good, man.
Thank you, man.
Oh, man.
That's going to be good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I'm also hoping if we can get Kyle O'Reilly down there, we can get Briscoe's Red Dragon again. Because a lot of those old Ring of Honor tag teams are in there now, man. And that's...
Man, there was a lot of people like me that was thinking that probably could have happened last week, but I think they thought, no, we got enough show. We don't need no more show.
I can dig it, man. But I'm excited about that. And it's interesting, the whole, well, you can have the Undisputed Era get back together. Red Dragon. Yeah. Undisputed Era doesn't need to get back together. First of all, Roddy's not there, so don't do that. And also, I think Red Dragon getting back together and having the Super Click over here, I think that's better. I think what they're doing is better, man.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool.
Stuff. But I'm very excited about them boys and FTR. I can't wait, man. And FTR's like Midnight Express music is awesome. I love it. That is so cool, man.
Yeah. That's I thought it was hell of a
I like the all the tribute gear is just cool. Like, I love the Arn and Tully boots. Like, when they first started wearing those, I'm like, God, that's awesome. And then when they bust out the Midnight Express gear, I'm like, man, that's now, I guess that's the figures I'm waiting on, is the hybrid of those two. But they got to fix those faces, because like we said, man, the FTR figures are not very good. So
not good.
Okay, I can live without those. But if they do that 50-50 gear, I might be in trouble.
Yeah, I could, get those and track down some more Patels and just pop the heads off, and I think it'll work.
They're not bad. Yeah, I've still got mine sitting in the closet in case I need to do that, because they. It was strange, because I remember the first time I saw the Mattel ones, I'm like, man, that's awesome. I was just being stupid and just looking at Scott Dawson. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Oh, that's so good. That's so awesome. Well, then when you finally look over, it's like, dude, like, Dash might be even better. So it's like you're just taken care of, man. But I am hoping that whatever they do, whenever they do new head scans for them, I'm hoping they'll get Cash's fantastic just for Mexico mullet, because he's trying to grow enough hair to have a hair match, and I'm like, yes, I love it.
Do it.
Hair versus mask. Like, that is so freaking cool, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
What those guys are doing as AAA champs is just awesome, because I just think it's so cool. We want to be the best tag team in the world. I mean, literally the best tag team in the world. So we're going to wrestle Arn and Tully style matches here. Then we're going to go to Mexico, and we're going to wrestle that style. But we're going to wrestle. That's the whole thing. You have them doing the Midnight Express gear here, which is awesome. You have Tully in their corner, so they got his boots on, and they really do wrestle. We talked about that. They're Arn and Tully students. You can totally tell. But, man, they go to Mexico and defend those titles, and they're totally dressed like Eddie and Art, man. They, like, literally walk in the building as Los Gringos Locos, and I'm like, these guys rule, man. This is so freaking cool. I love it. When ever get the pathway to Japan opened up, man, if we get enough people not sick anymore, That would be unbelievable. I don't know what they would do because whatever. Hey, do whatever you want. You can do Arnatelli over there, man. But whatever. It's. I love that they're getting to do that now. That's cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, brother.
My other thing that I was interested in, I had to send it to the man, was the HBO show that's going to be coming out soon. That I just lost my mind over just the trailer, checking it out.
I did too. As much as I love the Los Angeles Lakers, particularly the Lakers, very specifically for me, is the '87 incarnation of the Lakers, because the '87 Finals, Lakers Celtics, that was my introduction to basketball. That was my introduction to big time sports. I was just obsessed. And Magic is. It's weird. Kareem is my favorite guy that's ever played basketball. Magic's my favorite player. And he is still the benchmark for like what I think just the pinnacle of exciting basketball is. I love that guy. So there's a book called Showtime that I read and really enjoyed, and it was awesome. And the man sent me a preview for an HBO series coming up because, like we were discussing, you can't call it Showtime if it's going to air on HBO. So they've changed the name. Oh yeah, totally. I totally get it, man. It's like, making a live action version of Into the Spider-Verse. I totally understand. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So they're doing a show called Winning Time. It basically looks like Boogie Nights starring the Los Angeles Lakers of the 1979-80 season, and I'm with you. I cannot wait. I'm so excited, man.
I like Winning Time a lot better than the Jerry Buss story or some type of crap like that.
Yeah, it's I couldn't think of anything that was, and it's interesting. It's this is a stretch, I'm sure. All right, it's just what came to me, what I thought was cool. When you consider that in the city of Los Angeles, you have the Lakers. And you got the Clippers, but the Clippers don't really count because they've never won anything. And I like the Clippers, but they've never won anything. So in LA, no one cares about it. But there are other basketball teams in LA that have won and have won a lot. And that would be the UCLA Bruins. The USC Trojans have had good basketball. And their history, especially their women's basketball history, features a player named Cheryl Miller, whose little brother, Reggie, went to UCLA and was in the 30 for 30 called Winning Time that was about the Pacers going to the Garden and beating the Knicks. Yep. So if you're doing a Lakers show and you call it Winning Time, it might not be a reference to Reggie Miller at all, but in my head it is. So I'm like, oh, it's all LA basketball, baby. It's just fine. And
full circle.
The only thing better than you referencing Reggie Miller and UCLA basketball is Kareem is one of the stars of the show. So it's like, well, I'm just totally okay with this. This is fine with me. I like Winning Time. It works.
Man, the trailer started and I didn't quite know when I first watched it, I was like, do I like this or not? But the more I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be cool because it's John C. Reilly playing Jerry Buss, which is a good idea. But the intro of his character just in the trailer alone is kind of like, what are they doing? is this a semi-pro the series? Because I feel like we've told the semi-pro story. What else is there left to tell? And it dawns on me what they're doing. Like, oh, this is going to be nice.
I totally agree. I can't wait. Like I was telling you, man, John C. Reilly in anything is wonderful, and playing Jerry Buss is super cool. I'm totally good with that. The guy playing Kareem looks absolutely amazing. Casting someone that I've never heard of, and they say introducing in the preview, so I'm guessing none of us know that. Man, getting an unknown to play Magic is brilliant, especially the kid they got. Because he's got that 10,000 watt smile, and it's just like he sounds like him. I'm like, okay, this is going to be fantastic. But as I mentioned earlier, I'll jump ahead because I messed this up earlier. I love Gabby Hoffman, love her. So anything she's in, I'm excited to see her in. But I'm here to tell you, Adrian Brody as Pat Riley. That's the coolest sentence I've ever read. I'm like, oh my God, this is I want the series to continue through 87 so I can see him comb his hair back and watch him win 2 championships. That's what I want.
It just might. Who knows?
And let's keep going. Let's get picked up for 4 more years, guys.
We can flash forward if we have to.
Dude, totally. You can give us the montage of the Celtics in the early 80s being so good, and then it's, man, I used to be able to rattle off the years. I'm sorry to say I don't remember now what they are, but it seems like it was. I know the Lakers won it in 1980. Oh man, I should know better. I mean, it's Lakers Celtics for most of the decade, but you had Philly won one. I want to say 83, but I just don't remember if the Celtics went back to back in 81, 82 or not. It seems to me they definitely won it in 82, and I think they won it in 84. That might not be right, man. Now I don't remember. So the Lakers won it
It
in
seems like
80, 85, 87, 88.
if I remember right, I think it's the Celtics in 81, because I always remember that the Celtics won the year after Maravich retired.
I can do that.
It's always stung, like in that guy as much as I do. And, he was just one of those guys I remember and it killed him. When he was like, man, all I wanted was just one. And he retires and Bird comes along. He's like, Christ. But that's just how it goes.
Yeah, once you get Larry rolling, man, it's 81, man, that could be right. It really could be, because it seems like, I know the story, like the legendary story goes, that when Bird finally won the NBA championship, I don't remember who he was talking to. I don't know if it was Musburger or it was one of his teammates or whatever. But apparently the story goes that he had like the Larry O'Brien trophy in his hands. And whoever he was talking to, he looked him dead in the face and said, I finally got him. And the point he was making was that Magic beat him in 79 for the NCAAs. He beat him in 1980 for the Worlds. And so that was the NBAs. And so that was the reference. But I couldn't remember if it was 81 or 82. And I know you're right. They got one.
Somewhere in there.
The Celtics won 3 of them. And it's like 81, 84, 86 or something like that. And I just don't remember. But I know that the Sixers got one, and excuse me, boy, that might have been it till the Pistons, man, for real. The 80s, it was Boston and LA. It was amazing, man, how much success those teams had.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly. It's one of those trailers that I don't know if the date is at the end of just coming soon, and like, man, tell me when. But I'm looking forward to it a ton.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait, man. I am wondering if they'll release it if the season goes like NBA seasons usually do. The finals are usually in May, so maybe they'll release it around finals time, man.
Very well.
Could be.
Could
After
be
the finals
case.
are over, people want to sate that basketball, man. Be all good.
Yeah. I could deal. I might could last till then. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and be patient, but I'm with you. I've watched the preview like 4 or 5 times, man. I've got here. I'll show you guys. It's ridiculous, but for my daily motivator, or to just not really motivator, but just to put a smile on my face anytime I need one, I keep a screenshot of Adrian Brody as Pat Riley in my phone. So there he is, guys. It's stupid. I was really excited about that, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Shoot, man. I don't know much else what's going on in the daggone world.
Man, I'm doing the same thing I was doing. I'm still navigating through BoJack. Still working my way through BoJack Horseman, and I've made it. I'm through I'm into season 5 now, and I'm digging it. I'm glad there's just lots of things that I will give a shot, and sometimes you just know. Give it a shot. Watch a couple episodes. Man, this isn't my thing, and you can move away from it. There are other things that I will give a shot and just not feel, but sometimes you can just tell that the timing is what's wrong. It's like, I'll bet I'll really like this if I wait and watch it for when I want to see. So that's my thing with Spiderman Can't Get Home. As stupid as it is, my entire Instagram feed I don't know what the reason is. All I'm thinking is marketing, but I swear to God, every third picture on my Instagram feed is Tom and Zendaya, and I'm like, I cannot watch this movie right now. I'm just sick of looking at them, and I won't be fair to the movie if I watch it right now. So just give it a little time, let that cool off, and then watch the movie because it's probably real good. So that's what's up. And so that's what happened to me with BoJack. Not because of Tom and Zendaya; they didn't do anything. But when I first started watching it, I'm like, just not right now. Come back to this, and I'm glad I did because I'm really quite digging it. There's a couple of episodes that jump out. There's the one where I don't mean to spoil anything, but it's all old stuff. The one where Sarah Lynn dies is incredibly well done. The way they handled that scene in particular, I thought was awesome. The one where BoJack eulogizes his mom, that's an incredible episode. That's pretty much a Will Arnett monologue. I mean, it's just him. He has all the dialogue, and it's just him doing the eulogy. That's an incredibly good episode. But then there's one that I'm doing them out of order, but I like Todd. Todd's very cool, but Princess Carolyn is my favorite character on the show, and we talked about it, man. Amy Sedaris, I don't know how I missed it, but when I actually paid attention to the credits and I was reading, okay, who are doing these voices? And it's like Will Arnett, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm not a fan of his, but he's doing good, so it's like, okay, he'll be fine. But when I finally paid attention, it's like Will Arnett, and the second billing on that show is Amy Sedaris, and I'm like, now I don't know how I didn't notice this before, but I love her, so okay, that's cool. All right, I got to pay attention to what character she's voicing, and it's like, of course, my favorite character because it's Amy Sedaris, but also it's just a very good character. Man, there is this one episode, and this really is ruination, and I'm sorry to do that. I was impressed as crap with this. Again, it's not a swerve with Sarah Lynn. It's just the way they execute it is very, very cool. But there's an episode that like flashes forward like 45 years or something to the future. And there's this little kitty cat running around this very futuristic looking classroom talking to her schoolmates, and they have like this marm bot just like keeping them on task and give you a report and stuff like that. And so it's this kid giving a book report about her. I think it's her grandmother, might be her great grandmother. I think it's just her grandmother. Her grandmother, Princess Carolyn. And so she's talking about, different things that happened in her life and stuff like that, and la-di-da, and that's the background. And then it'll come back to the modern day, and Princess Carolyn's life will be going on, and we keep bouncing back to the classroom and the kid telling the story. But what's going on in Princess Carolyn's life is she's trying to get pregnant. Her mom had like 17 litters of 14 kittens at a time, and so she comes from fertile stock, but has just never been able to have kids herself. And that's what she's dealing with in the episode, is that this might not happen for her. So she starts to explore other options like adopting and things like that. Bounce back to the future. That's the story. That's what's going on. So interesting stuff. Not stuff you talk about very often. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. All right. Man. We go back to the future. We come back to the present. And she and president, I think I said president. Sorry, we come back to the present. And she and BoJack are having a conversation. Now, honestly, I do not remember exactly what they're talking about, because what's about to happen drop kicked me in the chest. So I don't remember exactly what was going on, but they're having a conversation about, I think BoJack's just down in the dumps. And he's asking her, like, I don't know how in the world you keep doing this, because you've got all these clients who are just like me, who are awful and self-absorbed and just a complete drain. How in the world do you stay motivated to keep getting up and like keeping us on track and giving us this pep talk? How do you do it? And Princess Carolyn explains, man, the thing, BoJack, is I have this like fantasy that I keep telling myself. And it's a story about my granddaughter. In her class in the future, telling the kids at show and tell about my life. So the fact that the granddaughter, because that's the whole thing, Princess Carolyn can't have kids. So, well, okay, but she'll adopt. That's okay. So how in the world would this kid be telling this story if Princess Carolyn doesn't have children, who then have children, and therefore she has grandkids? And it's because she's making it up. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. I thought that was such a cool thing. I didn't see it coming. It was like time for Santa Claus. I had no idea it was coming. Yeah. But that was so impressive to me, man. That's my favorite single episode. I need to go back and find the name of it. I'm just not ready to watch it again yet. But man, it was good. Super effective, super cool. And I'm just like, man, that's creative heartbreak there, buddy. Y'all did a good job. You jerks.
Sometimes that's what gets. Sometimes that's the motivation to keep some people going, is the fantasy that maybe someday it'll work out.
Yeah, totally. It's like, man, that's what's, because the whole deal is it seems to me that the entire point is to get Marks to do exactly what I did, which is like, well, it's her grandkid. It's got to work out because, and I totally, if that's what they were going for, they got me. So good. Oh, I love stuff like that because that's just, it's impressive because it's very emotionally impactful. But also, I love to write stuff, man. But I don't think I could ever hook anybody and take them along there. So when I watch something where it seems to me that's exactly what someone was trying to do and they were able to, that's impressive as hell on just like an execution level. But then when you add the emotion to it, boy, I got that part too, and I'm like, oh, y'all hurt me. What are you doing? Yeah,
that's close. You got me good. Got me good.
I don't like you guys. I don't like any of you. I don't like you.
Screw all you guys.
For real.
It's fantasy.
It's like the Canadian Parliament South Park. You guys are dicks.
Yeah.
You guys are dicks.
Yeah. It's that I was in, like some of those classes where I think it's the movie Sunset Boulevard and then the movie American Beauty, that all these like film teachers thought they were like really something like, that narrator lying to you. They're dead the whole time. Like, yeah, because it ain't fucking real, and you can do that, and it's neat. Like how can you trust anything they say? They're lying to you the whole time. They were dead. Like, well, it's a story. It ain't real.
I have never understood the frustration with Lester Burnham being dead. It's only the first line of the movie.
Yeah.
He tells you. It's right there. He tells you, and if you forgot, that's okay that you forgot. But it's like, dude,
when you watch it again, it's like, oh.
It's why are you upset about this? Why does this make you mad? The people that don't like American Beauty now, I understand. American Beauty was such a weird, polarizing thing at the time because I knew people that loved it. I was one of them. And the people that hated it, and almost everybody knew that hated it, it was because, man, that's crazy. That old man skeeving on a 17-year-old girl. And if you genuinely have a problem with that, I understand.
Yeah.
But the people I knew that had a problem with that, I call it speculation. I think it's because it hit too damn close to home. That's exactly what I think. And as you saw yourself in Lester and you saw one of your daughter's friends in, I don't remember, I cannot believe Mina Subari's character. I forgot her name. But anyway.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in forever, so I don't remember. But it's like, if you don't, I understand if you don't dig it. That's okay. But wait a minute now. This I don't know. That's a cruddy thing to say, but it's truthful. Like with some people, you hear criticism and it's like, "Ooh, I hear you," but with others, it's like, "I'm hearing a whole lot more than what you're saying here, Hondo." And anyway, that's speculation. But I haven't seen that movie in forever. It was real good the last time I watched it. I like that movie, man.
That's one of the stories I remember popping up when it comes to narration and cool story swerves. Like, yeah, narrator's dead. Just deal with it.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. This weird swerve is an interesting word because that's exactly what I was talking about whenever I was thinking about that. Is like, there are so many things that are called swerves and like, oh man, and out of left field and la di da, and that one really got me. The Princess Carolyn thing. I mean, I was just like, man, that's what I'm talking about because I just I never would have considered that. So whenever it saw, and the thing is, I never would have considered it. But when she says it, it's perfectly logical, makes total sense, and it's like I think that's so cool. I don't know how people do stuff like that, but it's impressive to me.
Everybody's got that fantasy. Well, if this works out, I'm going to be doing this one day, or whatever it is for you, whatever your version of that is.
It's the underpants nose. Underpants nose. B is blank. C profit.
Yeah. Big question mark in the middle.
Yeah, A is whatever you think it is. B is a huge question mark. C, profit.
Yeah. Cashing out. Heck yeah, man. That's about all I noticed was going on.
Yeah, man. That's the Hawks and BoJack Horseman. That's what I've been up to. And 2K16. I can't stop playing. Which, man, I'm here to tell you, since Isaiah Thomas is back with the Lakers, I'm telling you, you got a copy of 2K16 and you build the Los Angeles Lakers roster as it is today on 2K16, you will go 82-0, man. I'm telling you, it's insane. Nobody's beating you, man. Because if you have 2016,
never lost,
and Dwight Howard and Westbrook and Carmelo and IT, come on, man. Get the hell out of here. It's ridiculous, man.
It's the game's like, this is not allowed.
Dude, honestly, man, it's like the 2K16 digital version of David Stern pops up like, what are you doing? You might as well trade for Chris Paul. You can't do this.
He's just kind of pops up. No.
It pops up.
I won't allow it.
I like the idea of digital David Stern policing the game. Like, this is ridiculous, moron.
Okay. If you want to have all these people to play, it's going to be NBA Jam. You can have 2 out there. That's it.
It's 2 on 5, and you have these 2 guys for the red. They have to play 48 minutes every night.
Yeah.
No one gets to sit down.
It's not even tournament edition. You can't have a third.
Absolutely not.
Nope. Heck yeah, man.
I read an awesome thing about NBA Jam, and I promise I'll stop. And it's that people have speculated forever why Michael Jordan wasn't on NBA Jam. I don't think it's speculation anymore. I thought everybody knew. It's that Jordan's
did he have his own game back then?
No, its licensing fee is too expensive. It's like they were never going to cut him. It's the same reason when people talk about they should change the NBA logo and it should be the Jumpman. The National Basketball Association is never going to pay Michael Jordan to honor him with the logo being the Jumpman. It's a registered trademark, so you got to pay to use that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to. Jordan, Jordan shouldn't give it away for free. You're right, he shouldn't. So what I'm saying is that the only thing that should happen here is you should let that fantasy go, because they ain't going to pay him, and he shouldn't give it away for free. So there's that.
Yeah.
But it's
let
because
let it be its own thing, man. Doesn't have to be the logo.
I agree. He doesn't need that. It's fine. It's totally fine, man. But the thing is that, the licensing, it's the same reason we're like, there are tons of pictures of that John Starks dunk that exist, and Mike's not in any of them. He was out there, and he's on the video, and John Starks dunks all over his ass, but the licensing fee to use his image is just so high. No one pays it. There's no reason you should. But that's how come he wasn't on NBA Jam. But the funniest thing to me about NBA Jam that I learned is that the guy that programmed that game is a Pistons fan. So the Bulls, Jordan or not, regardless, if you are in a game that is 1 or 2 points, and you are the Bulls, and you're taking the last shot against the Pistons, it will not go in. The game is programmed where the Bulls cannot beat the Pistons on a last-second shot, period. I'm like, that's awesome, dude. That's such a cool thing to do. It's like, you're going to beat me, you got to beat me, but you're not beating me on the last shot. I'm like, what an awesome little trick to put in the game.
You want to know? Do you want to know why I programmed that? Because I can.
Exactly, man. I love the idea of you taking the last second shot buzzer beater with the Bulls to beat the Pistons, and on the way down, Newman just pops up. You get the Jurassic Park pop up. David Stern pops up and does.
Yep.
That'd be awesome, man. Now I wish you would do that.
The last second shot, the last second dunk's gonna go cling.
Dude,
no matter what.
Well, that's just awesome. I didn't know that. Good for y'all.
Have at it.
Yeah, dude, going for like a last second dunk, and it just winds up bouncing all the way back down the court and going in.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh no, we suck again.
Yeah.
I promise I'm done now, man.
Man, that's all good, man. That's what's up.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Sorry about the hold up, man. I fell asleep yesterday, so that's on me.
I've been having that problem my damn self. I'll see y'all.
Take it easy, y'all. Thank you.
Bye.